What if the answer to one of ancient history's biggest questions, like the real origin of the Egyptians, wasn't lost to time at all? What if it was actually recorded by Abraham himself? Well, today we're exploring a text that claims to be exactly that, a first-hand account that really challenges what a lot of historians believe. Let's dive in.
Okay, so the big question right off the bat is this. Where did the ancient Egyptians even come from? I mean, you'd think we'd have a pretty solid answer by now, but for the longest time, it's been a genuine historical puzzle.
In fact, if you look at a major encyclopedia from as late as 1946, it just flat out says their origin is unknown. That's a massive gap in our understanding of history. But what if the answer wasn't really lost, just, overlooked in a really old record?
And this is where the text we're looking at tonight comes into play. It makes this incredible claim that while modern scholars were totally stumped, Abraham had the answer the whole time. He supposedly wrote down a detailed history of how Egypt was founded, giving us an ancient key to a modern lock.
So the text lays out these 7 key points. It starts with a founder, a woman named Aegyptus, who, it says, was the daughter of the biblical Ham. Her son, Pharaoh, becomes the first ruler, and he sets up a patriarchal government. But here's the crucial part. His family line was blessed with worldly power, but barred from holding the priesthood, the authority to act in God's name. And this one detail, it becomes the source of a huge conflict down the road, as later pharaohs start to falsely claim that exact power.
Let's look a little closer at this so-called priesthood curse. According to this account, the biblical patriarch Noah actually blessed this first pharaoh with wisdom and prosperity. But, and this is a big but, because his lineage went back through Canaan, he was denied the priesthood. This wasn't some kind of punishment, it was just a divine decree that was set right from the very beginning of their nation.
And wow, did this decree have some major consequences. The text claims that later rulers just ignored it. They started what it calls a program of deception to grab the priesthood authority they were never supposed to have. And this alleged deception, well, that's what supposedly led Egyptian society way off course, into things like idol worship and even human sacrifice.
So this is the Egypt that Abraham is about to walk into, a place where, according to this history, the entire religious authority is built on a lie. And as we're about to see, his own past gave him every single reason to be afraid for his life. You have to remember, Abraham already had a run-in with the Egyptian priesthood. Way back in his homeland of Chaldea, a priest of Pharaoh tried to sacrifice him on an altar. Abraham was saved, sure, but the priest was struck down. So now, as he's heading into Egypt, you've got to think he's wondering, do they remember me, and are they looking for a little revenge?
But here's where the story takes a really sharp turn. While Abraham was probably bracing for some kind of payback, the text says he was warned that the real danger was something else entirely, a threat he absolutely never saw coming.
So his fear was all about the past, right? Revenge for what happened back in Chaldea. But the actual danger was so much more immediate. It was the Egyptian's reputation for lust combined with the incredible beauty of his wife, Sarai.
And the warning he got was just chillingly specific. The Lord apparently told him directly, as soon as the Egyptians see Sarai, they'll know she's your wife. And to get to her, they'll just kill you and take her. I mean, the stakes just could not have been higher.
So what do? How do you get out of a situation that seems like certain death? Well, the text is really clear that Abraham didn't just cook up some clever plan on his own. The solution, it claims, came from a divine source.
The instruction was very specific. Have Sarai tell everyone she's your sister. Now, the text makes a point to clarify that she actually was his half-sister, so it wasn't a total lie. It was more of a half-truth, but a half-truth with one critical purpose, to keep Abraham alive.
And wouldn't you know it, the plan worked exactly as it was supposed to. Sarai's beauty, of course, got immediate attention. She was brought right before Pharaoh himself. But because everyone thought Abraham was her brother, instead of killing him, Pharaoh just showered him with gifts and wealth, trying to get on the family's good side.
And here is the absolute irony of the whole plan. Not only did it save Abraham's life, it gave him the ultimate stage for his real mission. The text says that through the courtesy of the king, Abraham was actually invited to sit on Pharaoh's throne and teach. He literally had the ear of the most powerful man in Egypt.
And from this amazing position of influence, he started to teach. Our source even pulls from the ancient historian Josephus, who wrote that Abraham debated Egypt's priests and proved their arguments were, quote, vain and void of truth. The text actually credits Abraham with introducing them to advanced ideas like arithmetic and astronomy, knowledge he brought all the way from Chaldea.
So how long did this whole mission last? Well, if you calculate the ages given in the scriptural accounts, our source suggests it could have been for a pretty long time, maybe as long as 13 years. So this wasn't just some quick visit. This was a long-term educational and cultural mission.
Of course, a plan like this couldn't last forever, right? According to Josephus, when Pharaoh finally found out that Sarai was Abraham's wife, he was actually more embarrassed than angry. He apologized, gave Abraham a huge amount of money, and then basically told him and his whole household it was time to leave Egypt.
So, in the end, the story presents the whole thing as a total success. What began as a life-or-death situation was turned into this incredible opportunity. The text's conclusion is that divine wisdom not only kept Abraham and Sarai safe, but also let them bring profound new knowledge to the people of Egypt.
And that really brings us to the core question this whole account leaves us with. Is this just a story of clever human survival? Or, as the text claims, is it evidence of a divine strategy at work? This ancient record, presented as Abraham's own history, really asks us to consider that maybe, just maybe, there are narratives about the past that challenge our modern understanding in some really fundamental ways.